right, you asked for it and we delivered. From haunted objects to gateways to hell, today's list will ask the question, what can't demons leave behind? Hey guys, it's Raechel Fisher and I'm back again with another list of top 10 demons that left behind horrifying things, part 3. Let's dive in. Number 10, the Hope Diamond. If you're looking to splurge on a gift for your loved one because you have all the money in the world, maybe look elsewhere. This bling is deadly. The Hope Diamond offers anything but to whomever owns it. The 115-carat blue diamond was stolen from a Hindu idol in India by French merchant Jean-Baptiste Tavernier. Darkness latched onto the precious jewel and brought bad luck and death to all who touched it. The first to die, of course, was Tavernier himself, quite brutally as he was mauled to death. Then the diamond fell into the hands of King Louis XVI and his wife Marie Antoinette. And we all know what happened to them. They loved it so much they lost their heads about it. Ooh. Next was Lord Francis Hope, who this diamond is named after, died destitute after his fortune was squandered. Then socialite Evelyn Walsh McLean met tragedy after tragedy. Her son died in a car crash, her daughter took her own life, and Evelyn herself ended up in an asylum. Ugh. Now it sits in the Smithsonian National Museum of Natural History, locked away so whatever spirit's inside it can't hurt anyone else. Number 9, Robert the Doll. It is actually impossible to do a list like this and not mention a haunted doll. If I have to do a next one, I don't think there's any left, but we'll see. If I ever have children, dolls are out of the question. They're not getting dolls, it's not happening. Demons like them too much. Robert the Doll is another demonic doll that shouldn't be messed with. The story begins in 1896 in Key West, Florida, when a boy named Robert Eugene Otto received this as a gift from one of the family's servants who hated their masters since, well, slavery. Fair enough. Robert loved this doll. They became fast friends and they hung out all the time, all hours of the day, playing and chatting. But then servants heard the doll talk back. Neighbors of the house also reported seeing the doll move from room to room when no one was home. Suddenly Robert started getting blamed for rooms being messed up, vases smashing, furniture being destroyed, but he insisted it was the doll, not him. The boy started to become so terrified of the doll that he hid it in the attic. Robert inherited the house and lived there until 1972 until he passed away, making room for a young family to move in. A little girl found the doll in the attic and immediately sensed something was wrong with it. She said the doll wanted to kill her, and so the family gave it to a local art gallery / museum in Key West. But if you visit, remember to ask the doll, now known as Robert, before you take a picture, otherwise you will walk away cursed. Beside the display are letters from people who didn't ask first and now apologizing to the doll. People assume the doll is haunted by the boy who loved him, but considering the activity started before he died, many people believe that whoever made it put a demon inside. That makes sense to me. Number 8, the BASANO vase. The BASANO vase is a beautiful piece of craftsmanship carved in silver from the 15th century. This exquisite vase was made as a gift for an Italian bride and given to her the night before the wedding, but the next day she never made it to the chapel as she was killed the night before. Thus, the first act in the curse was born. The vase was then passed down through the family, but after each new owner died, it was hidden away to prevent any more death. But in 1988, it was rediscovered with a note inside with a very clear warning, "Beware, this vase brings death." Huh. Maybe you should heed that warning, but of course they didn't. The vase went up for auction and a pharmacist purchased it. Not long after though, he perished. 4 more deaths occurred before a family threw it out a window hoping to break it, but instead it fell at the feet of a policeman who tried to return it, but the family was like, no thank you, not a thing we want. Instead they asked him to bury it where no one could find it, and it remains in an undisclosed location to this day. Again, no one knows who made this piece, but rumors of demonic creations surround it, meaning that not only do those who own it die, but their souls are taken by the demon who possesses it. Thank God we don't know where it is. Number 7, the Crying Boy paintings. The Crying Boy paintings were a series of paintings created by Italian painter Giovanni Bragolin, or his actual name, Bruno Amadio, of orphan children after World War II. They became especially popular in England as many of the paintings were mass produced. But somewhere along the way, these pieces of art began to carry deadly consequences. A fireman noticed a very peculiar, ominous pattern. In the 1980s, a vicious fire swept the home of Ron and Mary Hall in South Yorkshire, England. England. The entire house was charred black, save for a painting they had of a crying boy. This wasn't the only time, and in 1985, this fireman reported to the media that these paintings had survived over 50 deadly fires across the UK. Wherever there was a fire, Amadio's art followed and was found unscathed amid the ashes. One theory suggests that one of the paintings was of a boy in Spain who accidentally set his house on fire, killing his parents. Somehow, the spirit of this boy infected each and every piece, and wherever it goes, tragedy is sure to follow. But can a simple ghost cause this much widespread damage? Demon or spirit, perhaps think twice before hanging this painting in your home. Or at least have like a fire extinguisher handy. Always. Number 6, the SKIRRID Inn. By now you all know that if you want to attract a demon to a certain place, there has to have been some kind of dark magic and a lot of death. The SKIRRID Inn in Wales, upon first glance, looks like a great place to enjoy some classic pub fare and a bitter ale. That sounds good. But looks can be deceiving, as this place used to be the site of public hangings. Seems like a weird place for a pub now, doesn't it? The upper part of the inn used to be a courthouse where people were tried, convicted, and then, if the case was made, executed on site. It is estimated that around 180 hangings took place right on the spot. They've even kept the original hanging beam, and the grooves of where the rope wore into the wood can be seen. Additionally, the inn has chosen to keep the original cell where the prisoners were kept. Both grim choices for decor, I'd say. There's also a noose hanging somewhere as well. Why? As a result, of course, many patrons have had experiences that they just can't forget, from sudden extreme drops in temperature to the feeling of a rope being tied around their neck, and occasionally dark, shadowy figures, and we all know who they are. Demons. If you didn't guess. Number 5, Highgate Cemetery. One of the things I absolutely love about visiting places like England and Europe in general is the sense of the deep, rich history it carries. You can almost feel the people who walked before you on the centuries-old cobblestone streets. Oh, there's nothing like it. But of course, for all those who came before, there's plenty who died. Highgate Cemetery in London is one such place where both people who suffered or died peacefully lie. It is rife with lore of hauntings, ghouls, and demons. The Highgate vampire is one such creature many have reported seeing since the 1960s. 2 girls reported seeing the dead rise from the graves while walking through Swains Lane one night. Next, animal carcasses turned up entirely drained of blood, and then once the media got hold, a vampire craze swept the city and 2 magicians began competing to see who could catch the creature first. The craze came to a head on Friday, April 13th, of course, Friday the 13th, in 1973, when a vampire hunt was organized and bodies were exhumed and then beheaded. This actually happened. This is a real thing. Legends of the demons still continue, along with sightings of a crazed old woman and of corpses appearing in places they shouldn't be. So, good lord, there's too many things they left behind. We have no idea. Number 4, the Isle of Demons. The Isle of Demons appears to be an island that comes and goes as it pleases. It is associated with Quirpon Island in Newfoundland, Canada. It began to appear on maps in the 16th century, but by the 17th century, it disappeared from maps altogether. This island was believed to be a haven for demons and beasts who would emerge to torment and destroy ships. One tale of forbidden love also haunts the island, as a French noblewoman named Marguerite de la Roque and her lover were marooned there. The sailors had heard of the tales, and when they heard of Marguerite's impious behavior, they sentenced her to die at the hands of demons. Both her lover and their child perished on the island, but Marguerite was saved years later, though she never spoke of what she indeed saw on the island. But if you just so happen to catch the island in the mist, reports from sailors say you just might see a woman and a man wandering the shores of the Island of Demons. We're coming up to our top 3, guys, but before we continue, if you like this video and want to see more, you know it works. Smash that like button because it lets us know you like us. And we like you. Let's continue. Number 3, the Hellfire Caves. Oh boy. The Hellfire Club was a famous club spoken about in hushed corners away from pious ears. It was essentially a meeting place for high society types in the 1700s who desired to perform immoral acts. In other words, it's where rich people got really kinky. The man-made chalk caves in West Wycombe, England was the chosen location for the Hellfire Club, specifically the group belonging to Sir Francis Dashwood, a politician, chancellor, and an overall rake. A rake being someone who lived immorally. They did everything. Hired women of the night to dress up as nuns and performed mock religious ceremonies, even performed satanic rituals over the naked bodies of aristocratic ladies. Ugh, the caves, whoo, like, oh my goodness. The caves trace for a mile on what used to be Dashwood's estate and were built to help build a road. A river they named Styx also runs at the bottom of the caves, named after, of course, the River of Styx from Greek mythology. Demonic activity is said to be rife within the caves, with terrifying faces etched onto the walls and feelings of being watched. Number 2, the Demon Church. St. Botolph's Church in Lincolnshire, England may look like your typical old place of worship, but just exactly what they worship within those walls is far darker than you may think. The church was abandoned in 1973, and in the following years it became a haven instead for all those who worshipped Satan. All kinds of dark ceremonies happened there, including those involving animal sacrifices. Who knows what else, but many stay away if they can resist their curiosity. Many people believe that the Satanists may have opened a portal to hell or unleashed something into this world that they couldn't put back. So now it is infamously known as the Demon Church. Number 1, Castle HOUSKA. We talked about Skull Cemetery last time as a gateway to hell, but Castle HOUSKA in Prague once welcomed the devil himself. It is the only place in the world where people say the devil appeared in a hole in the ground. Legend says that the castle is actually built on a gateway to hell and that it cracked open in 878 AD. It is said that winged half-human beasts came from the hole, so they built a castle to keep the creatures within. Though it may look normal from afar, the windows in the castle are actually fake, making it clear that this place is not meant to be lived in. When construction first began, prisoners in the village would be offered a pardon if they agreed to be lowered by rope into the hole. The first man to attempt it was tied up and lowered. After a few moments in the darkness, the man began screaming and begged to be pulled up. By the time they hauled him up, he looked as though he aged 30 years. His hair was white and his skin was creased and speckled. They tried to discover what he had seen, but the man was incoherent. He was later put into an insane asylum, but died 2 days later. If you were a prisoner at the time, would you have said yes? I think I probably would. I don't know, I would have just like made a show at the bottom and be like, oh no, unless there were actually demons, then I'd be like, cool, that's confirmed. And that was our top 10 list of top 10 demons that left behind horrifying things. You know what happens if you like this video, you just might get a part 4. Maybe, we'll see if you're good. So if you want it, remember to smash that button, subscribe for more, and comment on what you want to see next. I've been your host, Raechel Fisher, and until next time guys, take care. Cheers.